Hello, hello, I am Sinner, and I am back with the Nicomachean Ethics. This time it's Book 7, Continence and Incontinence, the Nature of Pleasure. And I'm not gonna lie, it was kind of boring, especially compared to intellectual virtues. I think intellectual virtues I liked because, to me, at least it seems more interesting. I don't know. But this was, as the name suggests, going over incontinence, continence, and comparing it to licentiousness. Now, for the sake of helping the reader out or the listener out, um, continence and incontinence in this sense is more like self control, and licentiousness is sort of a pleasure seeking nature or being excessively drawn in by pleasure. And the difference is you could have a guy who, let's say, knows what he's doing is wrong, but is incontinent. And that means that he might know that the pleasures that he is, let's say, drawn to doing are immoral, or the way he expresses his desires or whatever is immoral. But because of his weak nature, his incontinence, he like does it anyway. Think of like someone who's an addict or something. And then compare that to the licentious person who probably doesn't really see anything wrong with chasing pleasures or these sorts of things or being like overly hedonistic, right? It would be the difference between, let's say, someone regularly drinking in excess and being like, yeah, I've been trying to quit. I've been trying to quit drinking, man, blah, 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 versus like a guy who just loves drinking and he's like completely unrepentant, doesn't care, that sort of thing. And it sort of goes over that sort of stuff for the first bit, and then it goes over after that pleasure and whether or not it's good. And he basically says that he brings up people who say that pleasure isn't good, and then he argues against it, and then he says that it's sort of it can be good, but sometimes it isn't. It depends on the pleasure, which is fair enough. I agree with like the idea that not if you were to do something that's pleasurable, it can be an end in and of itself, doing something for pleasure's sake, but it has to be a good pleasure. And it's also important to keep in mind that for Aristotle, things like being a philosopher is considered a pleasure. So being contemplative or listening to music or being a musician, those are pleasures that are good, but that's different from what you might call bodily pleasures, which is what we would think of as pleasure, right? So things like eating tasty food or, um, you know, other things and that sort of stuff, or getting drunk, But yeah, overall, I think it was pretty interesting. Not really much to say on it from my part. I don't really understand Aristotle's position on after reading uh, this book. I kind of wasn't sure if he likes pleasure or if he's doesn't like it. Like it's clear he's not a hedonist, but I think he leaves room for some types of pleasure to be chased the way a Greek hedonist would approve of. You know what I mean? Like it's very. I'm not sure what he thinks. I can't really pin him down yet. Um, I think I'm going to have to read more. But yeah, to be honest, not much for me to really say on this one. I don't really uh, know what I think of it. I think a lot of it, I've been busy with uni, so I think maybe I'm just not absorbing it as well. But that's all for today. I am Sinner, and thank you for listening.